please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Distributed on Friday was our board packet, which included the agenda and the minutes from March the 11th as our consent agenda. Is there somebody who would like to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just for clarification, I was able to, Cynthia and I worked on a correction. I was shown as being present at March 11th, but I was not here, so I was here spiritually. You felt the spirit. Okay, very good. Item number 2 on our agenda are citizens' comments. Are there any citizens to be heard? Is there anybody online or Zoom? No, we're not doing that. Okay, perfect. Hearing none, we'll go on to item number C, the finance report. Ms. Decker.
Thank you. Yes. Included in your packet is the balance sheet, the profit and loss. We have the check detail that was all of the checks that were distributed for March 2024, and I also included the bank reconciliation report for race accounts. Let's go back to, on the balance sheet, it was showing in our checking we had a balance of $157,252.45. And then on our profit and loss, it was showing right now cumulative net revenue of negative $230,423.71. But the bank reconciliation agrees to that. So at least, even though that net income is incorrect, still to the duplication of a lot of our grant requisitions, our bank account agrees with what was put into QuickBooks. So for the financial consultant update, we do have 2 team members from Baker Tilly that just arrived today in our office and will be here throughout this week. We had to wait for the audit consulting team portion of Baker Tilly to finish with that part of the project before the consultants were able to start to avoid a conflict of interest. They have access now to our current QuickBook information, and they had to get our access to the desktop, the old desktop QuickBook information on the old computer. So they are working on going through that now and getting the historical information so that everything can be loaded into the new software, Blackbaud, and then they can use that to make the best determination for our processes moving forward and to eliminate duplicate entries by separating out everything into the different funds for fund accounting. And then, sorry to go back, for the finance report, I did have a total of $125,151.07 of ARPA drawdowns for the month of March. Okay. And then there was also the Erie County Department of Planning Act 137 requisition that we got for a little over $25,000.
So these reports are produced off the Quicken.
It's still the QuickBooks reports, yes.
So, and we're not going to be able to do the Blackbaud stuff for a couple more months then?
Correct. So yes, Baker Tilly is here now hoping to fine-tune any processes that we have. They are trying to eliminate the majority of our chart of accounts, which are excessive and unnecessary, and then give us a better process for how we can transition over into Blackbaud and make that as seamless as possible and get it to provide us the reports that we're looking for that can be individualized instead of everything lumped together as it is now.
Okay. Just give me a second here. Were there any questions or comments? We're all looking at 4 reports here. And I was just going to suggest that I know that depending on what the timing is, if the financial reports were ready before the rest of the board packet, I wouldn't mind receiving that as a separate, email then and gives it. I'm not sure what the timing is, which is, if you're waiting for various reports and so on. But if the board packet came into 2 different chunks, that would not mind me having received on a Friday afternoon and being ready for a Monday afternoon and
Very difficult.
It's a little bit of a challenge, so it just depended on timing. So
Okay.
if that's helpful to the staff. I don't want to create more work. I just want to make sure that we're adding value back to your work that you're presenting to us. So with that, is there a motion to accept the financials as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I know that Mr. Sundberg is unable to be here, and I believe there was a written solicitor's report in our packet.
There
Mr.
is.
Snippert, are you able to cover that for us?
Yeah, and Gene apologizes. He's in Indianapolis attending the baptism of his grandchild. So he provided the solicitor's report. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things that they're working on. I met with him last week. We kind of went through a few things, but really the biggest thing is right now appointment of a board of viewers. That's been done. We're just kind of waiting on some scheduling of those hearings so we can get going on some of these properties. Not really a big concern as far as that goes. We know, the properties. We know our appraisals. I think we're pretty set there. It's just a matter of going through that whole process and seeing what the Board of View says. Easterling and Watford 1 and 2 there, those are those 2 properties that were appealed to the Commonwealth, and Gene is having a hard time getting the Commonwealth to kick those properties back. So that's just kind of something he's been working on, and he's been in communication with them, hopefully to get those back to us so we can finalize the condemnation process there. A bunch of other little things, waiting on some deeds to be filed. For a deed to be filed or mortgage satisfaction to be filed on number 7 on Cameron Road. Oh, yeah. No, that's about it. Quite a few properties. Number 14, 520 East 5th Street. Jake and I went there. He filed preliminary objections. The attorney wanted us, I think it was Judge Piccinini, wanted us to go out there. We scheduled a meeting. We went to the property. See what kind of condition it is. It's deplorable. We sent a letter of issues to the property owner and to his attorney, so we're waiting to hear back on that. We have a hearing this Thursday for 314 Walnut Street, 1408 West 8th Street, Corsello. We had the oral arguments, preliminary objections there on March 8th. Judge Piccinini wanted us to visit the property and see if we could work with Mr. Corsello. We visited the property. We made a note of some minor issues. Mr. Corsello, Attorney Sundberg, and Judge Piccinini had a phone call. Judge Piccinini just expressed his displeasure toward Mr. Corsello's well-placed photos that he provided during the court hearing that hid a lot of the actual condition of the property. We met with Mr. Corsello probably, I think, about 2 weeks ago now, to enter into a relinquishment agreement. Mm-hmm. He's not happy with the compensation that he has to reimburse the Redevelopment Authority for, so we're kind of at a stalemate at the current time. So we're not quite sure where that's going to go. We're trying to work through maybe a payment type plan towards successful completion, but we're going to do what we can to work with them, and if we can't come to an agreement, then we'll go back to the court and inform the judge of where we are. So a lot going on. If there's any specific questions, certainly I'm glad to answer them, or we can get you in touch with Gene, but it's just a lot of properties and a lot of different situations. So, which is something we're well aware and knew was going to happen as we aggressively go after blight, where we're just going to come across every situation we possibly could. So
yeah, well, we appreciate the authority being proactive and helping address blight before it becomes worse for our community.
Trying.
It's messy, but we appreciate the work that's going on.
Thank you. All right, my general updates?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I got quite a bit. I'll try to go through them. If there's questions, certainly, let me know. Just an update on the RACB grant. EMTA's been working with Altair on revising their RACB grant as segment 3. So at the end of March, I signed the RDA 300 forms to be submitted back to the state. So I'm fairly certain that OB will approve those. As far as Tom Hardy and Altair said, everything seemed to be fine. So right now they're going to enter into the bid phase of it, which should be completed sometime in June. All goes well. We're hoping that start will be July of this year on the build out of the parking garage. So that will fully expend our RACB grant, which will be a great pleasure to myself to make sure we can finally box all that stuff up and put it away. So we look forward to that. So I'll update you once we get an official approval back from the state on those revisions.
Did you say July?
Yes, July 5th. Tentative start is July 15th.
Yeah.
If all goes well on the bid side.
Remind me, because I know that the project took, morphed over the years and so on. So it's back to the authority providing resources then just for the parking garage itself.
For the build out of the commercial space.
The commercial space, and
yes.
is that intended to be, that was intended to be a grocery store at one point, and?
Yeah, and I'm not at the current time aware of what their plan is for the overall concept of it. I know it's changed many times,
Yes.
but since they've been working with Altair, I'm staying in it just to facilitate the use
Just
of the
facilitate
funding,
the financing and let the,
That's basic, yeah.
let the marketing people figure out the end use and so on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks to the City of Erie and the use of Michael Baker, we submitted a Senate appropriations request for the East Bayfront Greenway Trail. So that's been submitted with some letters of support. We were notified, the City of Erie, we worked with them last year on a Energy Futures grant. So the city has been awarded that. So we're going to go through the negotiation phase with that. So definitely some updates will come as soon as we go through that in the city. I'll let the city do the official announcement on that grant. Holly led the program manager school for the lead grant, and she can touch on that during the rehab report. Chuck and I attended the legislative update of Infinite Erie last Friday on really the Cornerstone Land Trust, the Anchor Project, which is a group of neighborhood groups working toward developing housing within their neighborhoods. So that I felt went really well. Attended the Build CDC launch. If none of you guys, if you're not familiar, Build is basically a community development corporation of Hammett Health Foundation, focusing over in the East Avenue corridor. The Wayne School, ECAT, is part of that, but certainly they're looking to expand as they get their foothold there. So that was good. I'd mentioned, I believe, last month, had reached out to the coalition of PARA members, Pennsylvania Association of Housing and Redevelopment Authorities, about individuals and other organizations, like ourselves, that are using the Blighted Property Review Committee. We scheduled a meeting for March 19th. Jake and I and Gene was there. I think Mike Lavery from Code was there. We had a Zoom meeting. I think we had about 10 different municipalities from across the state kind of convened about the use of really the urban redevelopment law, our abilities to take blighted properties and other such things. And it was a really good conversation. It lasted, I think, about an hour. Really, we did most of the talking, and come to find out we seem to be the ones that are the most active with it and have done the most. So it was a good discussion. After that, I received some emails from PARA. They would like we're going to do a roundtable at the spring conference in Bethlehem at the May conference, this May. Also been asked to attend the professional development committee meeting on Sunday, May 5th at the conference, so I will be there at that so we can discuss maybe some professional development around that. So that's a positive move in the blight as we try to combine our collection of resources. And then the last one, the PA Land Bank Network Summit and the Rural Housing Summit are coming up June 4th and 5th at the Seven Springs Resort down southeast of Pittsburgh. So if any board members would like to attend, we can definitely facilitate the registration of that event. So the PA Land Bank Summit is on the 4th. I have been asked to present with a member from the Westmoreland County on
what was the title of it? Keeping everyone engaged, informed, and involved. So really just talking about keeping the community aware of what land banking, what you're doing as you're doing your land bank activities and that. So I look forward to representing the Redevelopment Authority and the Erie Land Bank during that session. So make sure I hit all my points. And then one other thing, I want to commend the staff for today and their help with pulling this together. As you can imagine, having a land bank meeting and a redevelopment authority meeting in the same day can be extremely hectic. And Cynthia and Angel and everyone else, Tracy and April, pulled it all together and put the packets together. So I'm sure they're looking forward to the end of today and be able to breathe. But I certainly commend them for all that they did to pull today together. So and I told them to never let me have two meetings in the same day again. So that's my report.
And if we're using the eclipse as a reason, I think we're good for another 120 years. I don't,
Oh, is that it? Okay, so we're good.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be okay then. So thank you for your comments. I just was going to add a couple things. One is that it is exciting that the city of Erie has a number of the bench strength of the local development group is really quite amazing between our West Bayfront, BEST, the new builds, CDC and so on. So we have a number of neighborhood groups to partner with that we can fund to help them, because they're the boots on the ground folks that know their neighbors the best and so on. So I can see that the authority will use resources then and let the local experts, and we're talking neighborhood block by block experts who really know their neighbors. I think that feels really good. So it feels like Erie is turning a corner. The meeting that we went to last Friday, I thought was one of the most inclusive and most cooperative community development meetings, neighborhood development meetings I have attended in a very long time. So that was very encouraging, and I really think that partly due to Aaron's leadership in that space, I think has been helpful as well. And I know that the neighbor groups appreciate the authority's support in terms of potential funding going forward then, so that's good. Earlier today was the land bank meeting. We did ask Aaron to send out information on the June 4th and 5th conferences, just to take a look at the agenda. If there are members who might be interested, maybe we could send one or two board members, to accompany Aaron. If nothing else, serve as the plazometer in the back room as he's presenting, which is always good to that. But it is kind of fun to travel throughout the Commonwealth and see what other communities are doing. Based on some information we received at the land bank earlier today, we're seeing some very, very favorable statistics here in Erie that we're really doing well. And given a community of our size and the fact that we're building out this organization here with the help of everybody in this room, it's really pretty amazing. Then, so that's my pep talk.
Well, thank you.
All right, so any other information or updates from anybody? Any questions from the board members? I know we talk fast, don't we? It's like, all right, on to item E, unfinished business. I think we have a property report to review.
All right, property report, Tracy. All right, fine. Jake said you were going to do it. All right, so in front of you is the property report. The dates, I'm sorry, I apologize for the dates. I believe it's February of 2024 to March of 2024. So under property acquisition was the properties that we acquired there at the end of February, along with some other relinquishment agreements that we have entered into, and then the following properties were there for Board of View. And then fortunately, we have pending sales agreements on some properties. The one to note on the back of it, 1118 Wallace has a board and seal lien that is in front of council tomorrow evening for them to release, so that then we can finally convey that property. So that's really, we have quite a few where we got that resolution in front of council tomorrow, and then we have a substantial resolution that we're getting in front of council at the May 1st meeting, which is hopefully to clear up some tax issues with roughly, I believe it's about 24 properties from back in the early 2000s. So all goes well, we get that through council, task school district, and the county will be able to convey. I think we have about 3 or 4 properties that people have been wanting to purchase for some time, that it's just been a long time coming to get those. So, and blighted properties, we just, 273 blighted properties on the list. So that's the property report. And there's a resolution for that with the revised dates.
Any questions on the property report has been presented?
And I apologize. I'll say it's February 24 to April 2024. Well, it should be March. You're right. It should be March. I apologize. It's been a long day. February.
So this is the property report for March 2024, February, March?
February to March of 2024, because we're in April. I was rushing. I was thinking it was May.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion to accept the resolution as amended to February through March of 2024?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now we are on to item E2, Housing Program Update.
Holly?
Hi, board. So you get to hear from me now about housing updates. I guess this is a thing now. So first thing, our ARPA Healthy Homes is going a little too well. We've almost got that money spent down.
That's great.
So my current remaining unallocated balance is only about $323,000. So that's not a ton, but that's good. I mean, that's a good thing. That means that we're getting this money out on the streets, and that's what we want to do with it. So at the rate of average project costs are out right now, somewhere between 16 and 26 more projects. I'll be able to get under that. So that's dwindling down really fast.
That's great. Are you also working with the Whole Homes Repair Program? Is that part of
that's coming up too. I got lots to say.
Oh,
about
do you?
that.
I'm sorry. I get all excited about these things and everything. I'll sit on my hands.
No, you're all good. Lead, we're still working on ironing out final numbers for that, but we know we only need about 14 more units under the LHRD grant. But the big announcements, of course, right now are under county. So Mr. Davis has finally opened Tier 2 for whole home repair, so that's really exciting. I've had a pile of applications I've been sitting on for a while that we are now able to start getting pushed through. So that's pretty exciting. We've got, I think, 21 total applications that are approved through Tiers 1 and 2 so far. 8 or 7 that are past intake at the moment.
Could you remind us the difference between a Tier 1 and a Tier 2? I think I know, but maybe for the benefit of the other board members.
Yeah, so Tier 1 was just all the boroughs. Yeah, it was just all the boroughs. So a lot of what we saw under Act 137's Phase 1. And then Tier 2 now gets us into some more of the townships.
Mm-hmm.
So it still doesn't extend into like Mill Creek, Harbor Creek, Fairview, any of those. Those are all Tier 3. I don't know if I realistically think any of them will even see any whole home funds, honestly.
Okay.
But we'll see. So we, are sharing one pot with Corey, and they're pushing through a whole lot too. So we'll just kind of see. It certainly won't be opened up anytime soon for Tier 3. So.
But this is a very unique opportunity then to get some resources, throughout the county. It's a very
Yes.
Troubled areas then that haven't received any attention in a while.
Yeah, and to that effect, what we've done here with housing rehab programs in general, but specifically Whole Home, has gotten the attention of Senator Fetterman and his DC office. They've been in talks with us. They're wanting to use a lot of our model here as part of the proposal for a federal whole home repair program that they're trying to push through. So that's been pretty neat to be in talks with them about and contribute to. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have more to say about that in coming months. I don't want to get ahead of myself. HUD income limits for 2024 just came out, and they did not go up much at all this year. Very, very nominal, so we're not really seeing those nice COVID bumps anymore. So those are modest. It's pretty much all the high. There's some more of the detailed stuff on the housing report in there if you want to get into some of the numbers for rehab programs. But the only other thing is, like you said, I went to program manager school last week. in Minneapolis for HUD. It was far more grant-oriented than previous program manager schools, so my brain was melting. There was a lot of details of stuff I've not really been exposed to before, so I told Aaron I came back with a lot more questions than answers probably, but I mean, that's a good thing, so it'll get me a chance to learn.
Well,
a
it
lot
gets you
more
to
about
think
cichlids.
critically then, and you start asking, and helps you research then the right
Yeah,
path.
and there's just like some aspects that I don't
Sure.
necessarily have my hands in per se with these
Mhm.
grants, but it's helpful to know about them. So actually, I'll probably have a lot to drive April crazy about to learn some things in the future. But it's nice to talk to other municipalities and counties and states across the country to see what their challenges are, or if they've got solutions for things that are challenges for us. And like us, everybody else's problem is contractors as well. So, so there were some ideas about how we can work on improving that. But overall, it was a very useful conference. So that's all my stuff, which is funny.
So I just think it's underscores really important to know that the Erie City Redevelopment Authority, we're out in almost 2/3 of the county, so we cover a fair amount of turf. And when you start driving around, you realize how large Erie County is, So thank you for your work and appreciate it.
I'm learning whole corners of the county that I didn't know existed before.
Mhm.
So
Thanks, Holly.
All right. And what's up next? Looks like,
ENGP update and next steps.
all right.
Jake?
So you all have a sheet in there with the ENGP goals and what we've been up to. But I did want to preface that with just a couple of things for you. The first being that we are working on calling a new board, on seating a new board. We were hoping to have that done this month. I'm not 100% sure that's going to happen, but I'm cautiously optimistic about May, having that completed for May. The first thing we'll need to do when we seat a new board is revise our bylaws, because while I don't think anything changes fundamentally, there's a lot of details that I think are going to need to be updated. The other question that I've gotten a lot was, what exactly is the purpose of the ENGP? Just because we have other community groups who are out there and they're fighting the good fight and they're doing the good work.
Sure.
And I can say without hesitation that it's equity. So our goal, my endeavor, the endeavor of the ENGP will always be to make sure that there are resources available to every community, not just the communities that have Jeremy and Anna and the like, because they're all so fortunate and they have so many resources. Excuse me, I don't think that some of those neighborhoods even realize how fortunate they are to have those types of folks fighting for them. I would like to make sure that all of the things that are available to those neighborhoods that have somebody at the helm also have the same resources and availability of funding and learning and all of that is encompassed in that. I'd like everybody to have those opportunities. So that is, equity is what we can draw that down to. So that is what we try to keep in mind with all of these goals. I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that I wrote on here that we've held 2 monthly meetings in separate facilities. We've decided to kind of move around a little bit. I think that's easier. People always want to see things come into their own neighborhoods, and it makes people feel seen, and people seem to be excited about it. And tomorrow is our third, and it'll be at the East Side facility for the Sisters of St. Joseph at 6 o'clock, if anybody is interested. Does anybody have any questions for me about what's on the paper that's in your packet?
I don't think. Oops. Any questions? Good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tracy.
And then is Tracy also going to do the scholarship? Or
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. So, lots of new things I've been learning, but every year PARA has a scholarship for low-income families that either live in in housing neighborhoods or qualify for Section 8 housing. So we did a heavy push this year to get those out to everybody. I spoke to actually every guidance counselor in the county and sent it out, tried to push as hard as we could. We got 2 back. I submitted those and to PARA, and unfortunately they weren't chosen. In talking to Aaron, I said it's unfortunate because these kids are lovely. They were not asked for references, however, they had 4 or 5 references, just letting us know how great the kids are. So, in talking with Aaron, we had hoped to create a scholarship for not only the kids who have, I'm saying kids, I mean students, who were not selected for the PARA scholarships. Potentially they could have another option or another opportunity to be helped by a scholarship that the ENGP/race would handle. So in your packet, you will have the scholarship applications and the denial letter from PARA, but everything that we were sent, you should have in your packets, so you can take a look at them. I think that you'll find that they're lovely children, the same way that I did, and that they could really benefit from our help. So in looking at that, Aaron wanted to have a set of guidelines. So if we piggyback off of the PARA guidelines, add a couple more, kind of lessen the stringency of a couple of them, I think we have the opportunity to really help students in a way that they're not currently being helped. So you have all of the packets in front of you, all of our guidelines. I just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of them that we changed a little bit. So the PARA one is only open to high school seniors. We've expanded that from high school seniors to college freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. They're required to be full-time for the PARA scholarship. We've required the same thing with the caveat that under special circumstances, that could be negotiated either with Aaron or Aaron and myself. But by and large, they follow the same guidelines as the PARA grant.
So the criteria is a student who is somehow touched by the City of Erie Redevelopment Authority, a recipient of some sort.
Well, they have to fall within where we can help them at, right? So Erie County.
Okay.
But they don't have to be involved with us at all. The only guideline that connects us is that they would be low-income housing, that they would qualify for low-income housing.
Okay.
So in essence, they would qualify for one of our programs if their family applied, but they necessarily wouldn't have to had to have been enrolled in one of our programs. They just qualify for one of our programs.
I've got a lot
No,
of
you're
questions
good.
because I do this all day, every day. So,
I know.
One other thought, and this is great. I mean, we're all very excited about this. It's just kind of helping kind of hone in because there's a lot of need out there, and we want to make sure that Redevelopment Authority funds are impactful. One thought I had was there an opportunity also to help students. This is going to sound terrible to tell my employer this, but not pursuing a 4-year degree, but going to a trade school to help us kind of focus on the trades.
So interestingly enough, if you go to the PARA guidelines, that is for any university, trade school, technical school, or creative school. But it just has to be accredited in the state of Pennsylvania. So it will touch on all of that. And that was kind of important to both Aaron and I as well.
Okay. Yeah. And what kind of budget are you looking at in terms of the size and scope of the scholarships? And
so this year would be a little bit smaller just because obviously this is this kind of just fell into our lap. So we would hope this year to do $1,000 per student. Going forward, we would like to plan for up to $5,000, whatever that means. That means we could have 4 recipients, or maybe it's only 2, so it's 2,000, or maybe, we have a student who is really dedicated and can't get the funding, so we're able to help with that $1,000 in potentially their books for the year. So I think our goal is probably right around $1,000, $1,500, up to $5,000 a year. Initially, that will come from the interest that rate has accumulated on different on different accounts, or money that comes in from HACE that's unrestricted. So, but initially it would be RACE. It's my sincere hope that the ENGP would be able to take that over and fund that within the next 36 months.
Okay. And what's your schedule looking like again, we saw this on Friday, we're kind of noodling around in our heads and so on, and do you need an answer today? Can this wait till our next meeting, or how?
I think we could wait till May.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a type A, so I always want an answer right now, but I definitely think May would work.
No, I appreciate moving things ahead and everything. It's just, I've got some ideas, and I'm, helping to kind of structure this. I wonder if this is an opportunity to have a committee that's made up of some ENGP members to give a sense of purpose. We're looking at maybe sure we're expanding our diversity out to the whole county, so that maybe this is an opportunity for us to help the authority achieve through this organization, through this program, some additional, inviting other people to participate in our policy making and input, and citizens input, to make sure that we're gathering everybody under the tent a little bit here. So I want to applaud the idea. It's just that I think that we just need to work through some details then. And again, I do this every day, all day, and
I get it.
At Edinburgh, we were kind of updating a number of our criteria, and it's like, we wish we never did this or whatever. So I'd like to give you some advice on some things that we picked up that we're doing slightly differently. I think might make things a little more streamlined then. But helping anybody with an education is definitely where we're all up for that. I just want to make sure the program is kind of structured well on the get-go.
Awesome.
Would that be okay if we delay?
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
And I'll reach out to you. We'll this week then, we'll maybe put our heads together. Then I'll invite some comments in from my colleague board members then, who I'm sure have some thoughts, and we'll put a program together. And I like it very much. And I just want to make sure that we have good return on investment, and quite frankly, that we get a little notoriety out of it as well, that this is one more thing that the authority's done to help benefit our community.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate the comments and the support. So
Yeah.
it means a lot.
Were there any comments today? But I did read through both applications and everything, but particularly the one for Penn West, that's definitely, we definitely want to fund that one. But
No, I appreciate your feedback, and I look forward to any additional comments.
Yeah. And then, questions on how this gets marketed, and can we push the trade schools and help somebody who's thinking differently than, because we talk about, lack of contractors. If there's a way that we could really push that, that would be, I think, a very good thing as well then. Not excluding anybody else, but really, finding a way. Because it's sometimes even hard to get the word out, and I appreciate you contacting the guidance counselors and everything, so, because they're busy with all kinds of things, so the fact that you got responses, and these glowing letters of support, we're outstanding then, so. Makes you feel good. We live in a community with some really talented young people out there.
For sure.
So, all right, so we'll table that then. I guess that was an action item, so we'll just move that along then. And then item number 5, we have 2 resolutions in our packet, and we'd like to move the resolution which extends Mr. Snippert's employment contract, because we'd like for him and his staff to show up tomorrow. Please do. We need you all. So let's see. That was the first resolution in our packet, I believe, which authorizes Mr. Snippert to act on behalf of the organization effective retroactively back to December 31st, so all the actions he has been taking are appropriate. Is there a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And with that, if there's no other business, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And thanks,
Thank you.
everyone, for your participation and your conversation.